Dr. Kiranmayi, Assistant Professor and Area Chair, Digital Transformation and Operations, School of Business, Aditya University. I am the course instructor for Business Statistics and Analysis for Decision Making. In the previous lectures, we have understood what is the history of statistics and how statistics are useful in business organizations, in particular for decision making, and various types of data and various types of variables like dependent variable, independent variable, mediating variable, moderating variable and all, and various types of scales like nominal, ordinal, ratio, interval scale to measure the various types of data, and also we had understood what are the various types of charts, graphs, and under what circumstances and for what kind of data and for what types of variables which graph is to be used, and how the graphs are used for data analysis and interpretation for decision making are also discussed. And coming to the present lecture, in this lecture I am going to talk about descriptive statistics, which is the outcome of the second module. So, in descriptive statistics, I am going to cover various measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, which are the most common measures used in business organizations, and various measures of variability, nothing but measures of dispersion, and also measures of shape, that the various measures of central tendency like mean, median, mode, or variability like range, standard deviation, quartile deviation and all, and the shapes like shapes of the probability distribution like skewness and kurtosis. So, in order to perform all these things, you should have the knowledge of basic mathematics. So, you should be able to perform various calculations like addition, subtraction, and calculation of the percentages, interpretation of the percentages. So, all these are required. And not only basic mathematical skills, but also one should have the person who is interested in learning the concepts like mean, median, mode and all, they should also have the skills of logical thinking and analytical skills. Since as a data analyst, we may have several kinds of large set of data at our hand. So, based upon the objective, a particular kind of measure is to be calculated and interpreted for a decision making. So, in order to decide which measure is to be calculated, whether mean or median or standard deviation, and how to interpret all these measures, for such kind of calculation and interpretation, logical thinking and analytical skills are very, very important. And not only that, along with the above said two skills, the another important skill you must possess is the concept of coordinate geometry, because skewness and kurtosis helps us in understanding the shape of the probability distribution. So, that is how the data points are spread over and what kind of relationship is there. So, in order to understand the characteristics of data set which are presented graphically, to understand in terms of skewness and kurtosis, so one should also have understanding or knowledge of coordinate geometry. And coming to the second module, in the second module we are going to cover measures of central tendency, that is mean, median, mode, and coming to measures of variability, range, interquartile range, standard deviation, coefficient of variation. These are the things which I am going to cover in the second module. And the third part of this module, so the first part is measures of central tendency, and the second part of second module is the measures of variability, and the third part of second module is measures of shape, that is skewness and kurtosis. So, these are the things which I am going to cover in the second module. Let us start this discussion with descriptive statistics. So, descriptive statistics can be divided into three parts. So, number one, measures of central tendency. So, and measures of central tendency. So, mostly common used measures of central tendency are mean, median and mode. There are other measures of central tendency also there, like geometric mean, harmonic mean and all, but these are the most common used measures of central tendency. And also we have under the head of descriptive statistics measures of variability. Measures of variability covers the concepts like range, standard deviation, interquartile range, variance, and all these things we are going to discuss under the head of measures of variability. And measures of frequency distribution, that is how the data points are spread over. In order to observe the shape of the distribution, we are going to use a kind of histogram, box plot and pie chart in order to understand the shape of the probability distribution, whether it is skewed or not skewed, symmetrical one or non-symmetrical. All these things we can understand using measures of frequency distribution, which is nothing but skewness and kurtosis. What is descriptive statistics? Descriptive, all these various measures which are classified into three categories. All these measures are used to describe the data set, to summarize the data set. That is the meaning of descriptive statistics. Using all these statistics, all these measures, one can understand what is the data telling and what are the patterns, what are the trends are the. For example, if we have sales data at hand, so by calculating average, say for example, average means where the entire, suppose imagine that you have large data set at your hand, say for example the data like day 1 there are 10 units of sales happened, on day 2 11 units, on day 3 some, say for example 20 units. Likewise, you may have data on sales for 10 days, on the last day, say for example you have 50 units of sales. So, by looking at this data 10, 11, 20 and so on 50, can we draw any information whether the sales are good, whether the sales are increasing or going down? No. So, obviously we cannot have any understanding, we cannot make any conclusions or interpretations by looking at this raw data. So, in order to summarize the data, all these values will be summed up to only single value, one value, that is what we call average. So, likewise descriptive statistics are used in order to identify the patterns, trends and what the data is depicting. All these things we can understand. That is, we are doing nothing but we are describing the data. That is why it is all these are called descriptive statistics. So, in any data analysis, performing this descriptive statistics will be the first step. And as we have discussed various types of descriptive statistics, which are categorized into three categories. So, coming to what is, let us try to understand what is measures of central tendency. The term itself giving meaning central, that is at what is the value, around which value the whole data set is revolving, and what is the central value, to which value we can sum up all the data. So, imagine, for example, imagine a circle which has center point, where this center point is at equal distance from all the points in a circle. So, likewise, by using measures of central tendency, one can locate the central value, the middle value, around which the whole data set can be summarized. And the other one, measures of variability. So, measures of variability tells us how the data was spread. So, whether the data are closely related, or whether the data points are away from each other. So, how the data is spread. So, that is, we can measure variance, deviation among the data points by using measures of variability. And measures of frequency distribution, we can answer the question how the data is distributed, whether the data is symmetrically distributed, or whether the data is right tailed, or whether the data is left tailed. So, all left, right, or whether it is symmetrically distributed. So, all such things we can understand using measures of frequency distribution. And the next thing, so while performing this descriptive statistics, we should have we should have what type of data we have at hand. So, the data will be initially, the raw data will be at hand. So, the data will be represented in different forms. You may have ungrouped data, and you may have grouped. So, one who is performing descriptive statistics, we should understand what type of data we have at hand. The data can be represented in two ways. One is group data and the other one is ungrouped data. Yes, what is ungrouped data? So, the ungrouped data is the data where all the data points are listed out by the distributor in a frequency distribution. Say, for example, if we consider the scores of 10 students, 10 students may have different scores. So, student 1 scores 10, student 2 score 12. So, where there are no class intervals, where the data points are not grouped, no, with the help of class intervals. So, such data is called ungrouped data. So, this is the best example. Here you can see in this table where the heights of all the students distributed. So, these are the possible heights of students, 139 inches, 145, and so this frequency 1 represents that there is one student with the height 139 inches, and this 2 represents there are 2 students are there with 150 inches of height. And this is how the data, all the data points are listed, and frequency denotes how many times that value has been occurred in the raw data. So, this is what we call ungrouped distribution. Ungrouped distribution, and it is called grouped, ungrouped. This is ungrouped data and this is grouped data. So, here you can observe, so the data points are divided into class intervals. The first class interval is 5 to 9, that is all the conversations which happened between 5 minutes to 9 minutes will fall in this class interval, including 5 minutes and 9 minutes. So, all the conversations happened from 10 minutes to 14 minutes. So, the number of discussions or conversations happened between 10 to 14 minutes will be will fall in this class interval. That is, there are 5 conversations happened between 10 minutes to 14 minutes. So, this way the entire, here in this example we have just only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 data points are only there. But in general, when we are dealing with large data set, it is very difficult process to develop a distribution in a table and to perform analytics. So, that is why in order to simplify the data, large data, one can use this kind of grouped distribution where the data is represented using class intervals. As I said, mean, median, mode, these are the most common used measures of central tendency. So, what is mean? All of you know mean means nothing but average of the data set. It is also called the arithmetic mean. So, what does this mean tells us? So, interpretation, understanding what the value average is going to connote. So, mean means, suppose if I say mean as 5, that is, say for example, there is a researcher who is conducting a research and eliciting opinions of the respondent using the Likert scale or rating scale from 1 to 5. Say for example, if I say mean as 5, it means that all the values are in and around nearby 5. Suppose if the scores of a student lies between 0 to 100. Suppose if I say mean of the scores as 60, that is, every student has got the score 60, which is average score. If mean is, say for example, 90, the mean score of the students of a class is 90, it means all the students has got the score 90, that is, the performance of the class is outstanding. So, this way the average is used to summarize the large data into single value. So, this is how we can make use of the measure mean. Mean also not just used for summarizing the data, it is also used for comparing two data sets. Say for example, if there are two institutions which are competing, so one may be interested in knowing which institution is performing better. Then you can find average for one institution, you will have average for one institution, average for second institution. So, the institution which has got, say for example, first institution average is 60, second institution average is 80. So, based upon the average value, we can say that the second institution is doing better. So, this way we can make use of the measure mean. And we have another measure of central tendency which is called median. Median stands for middle. So, the middle value, so in order to find out the median value, first the data, all the entire data is to be ordered, should be in descending order, or in ascending order. And after setting all the data in either ascending or descending order, then we find the middle value, which is called technically median. So, how does median, what does median tells? Median divides entire data into two equal parts. Median divides entire data into two equal parts. Suppose if I say the value of median is 8. So, the upper part, that is 50%, 50% of the values are less than 8 and 50% of the values are more than 8. So, that way we can interpret how many values are more than a particular value. What is the center value? That way we can find out, use the concept of median. And we have another measure, that is mode. Mode is the most number of times, the most repeated value in the data set. Say for example, if I say mode value as 7, it means that 7 has occurred more number of times in the data set when compared with other values. Say for example, if I say score of a student is 75, it means that majority of the student scored 75. So, this is how we can make use of measures of central tendency, mean, median, mode. And from this table we can understand. So, just it is not only sufficient to have the knowledge of mean, median, mode and how they are interpreted. There is based upon the relationship between all these three are measures of central tendency. But there is a kind of relationship. Based upon the relationship between these three variables, we can understand what type of distribution the data points are denoting. So, if mean, median, mode are equal, then the distribution is said to be symmetrical, which is a normal distribution. So, where mean, median and mode are equal, that is, the distribution will be distributed equally, 50% and this side 50%. So, by using the relationship, understanding the relationship between these three measures, we can understand the shape of the data, the shape of the distribution. So, if all these three measures are equal, we can say that the distribution is a symmetrical distribution. And if mean is greater than, median is greater than mode, then it denotes positive skewness. Positive skew, where the large tail lies on the positive side of the distribution, that is major values, higher values will fall on the right side. So, this is how we can understand, draw conclusions using the relationship between mean, median, mode. And if mean is less than, median is less than mode, then the distribution is said to be left skewed, that is negatively skewed, and this is where the tail lies on the left side. So, this is how we can draw conclusions using the measures mean, median, mode. So, from this lecture we have understood what are the measures of descriptive statistics, and what are the categories of descriptive statistics, and various measures of central tendency and their relationship, and how to draw conclusions based upon the relationship of these measures of central tendency. Thank you.